Hello there, Ian at Stage Sounds again. As part of my beginner course on live sound, I'd like to just run through a little bit of health and safety regarding electrical equipment and cabling, power leads and whatnot. I think first things first, I've played at a lot of venues over the years, and majority of the sockets, the electrical points on the wall have been perfectly fine and perfectly safe. But there have been a few exceptions over the years, perhaps more than a few. And bear in mind I've performed at an awful lot of venues, so you're always going to have a few. There's more than a few where I've played at those venues and a socket, the power be working in one of the sockets and the socket next to it doesn't work at all, which is always a worry. But also I've been at venues, and this does count for outside events as well, and the sockets have literally been hanging off the wall with the wiring exposed. It happens. This is the real world. I would advise, without a doubt, avoid them like the plague. Don't go near them. Just do not. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. To combat, is that the right word? To be sure that the circuit or the point on the wall is safe, that the electricity coming in is grounded and it's earthed and it's running okay, I advise you to get one of these. It's a simple, inexpensive circuit tester, and all you do is you get that, you plug it in to the power point at the source or in the lead that's going into that point, switch it on, and you know that this one's safe. All the information, the user guide is all here, and it shows that the power coming into this lead via that source is safe. Now, obviously you'd connect everything from that power point to this. If it's I mean, we're assuming it's a small event, say a small band or a solo or a duo, connect it all to there because you know that that socket is safe. Yeah. If you've got more than one socket, multiple sockets you're going to be using, I'd plug them in, all of them, from all those points. I mean, you're only ever going to use half a dozen at the most, one would assume, but if it's all coming in from one main socket, you only need to plug one of these in. I do all the time, and I would advise leaving it plugged in all night. It's not going to create a problem. You won't need this socket, you've allowed for others because they're all coming from that, for instance, or others that you've got one of these plugged into. My point is that you can see if there's a change to the electrical safety at some point during the night. You'll see it. You know, I mean, you're not going to be monitoring it all the time, but you're going to be aware of what these lights are telling you. And that's a circuit tester, so you'll know beforehand when you at setup and sound check as to the state of the sockets you're using and the power coming in. So definitely get one of them. As I say, they are inexpensive, and they'll save your life, the chances are, before you start performing. If there's a problem, just steer clear of that socket. You'll get fewer lights light up if there's a problem. So absolutely use one of those, and absolutely get one of these circuit breakers. Get a circuit breaker. This will show you. This is a circuit tester. Now it's important. These are not the same. These are not the same. That's a circuit tester that tests for the that the fuse is okay, that there's no lines or anything wiring broken in it, damaged. If there's a fault, that'll tell you, and that'll turn it off if there is. You know, at some point during the evening, you could have a problem. You don't know that someone could accidentally kick a wire out, pull it from the plug. It does happen, and this will go. Hang on a minute, there's a problem, and it will break. You get it will, you know, it will do its job. It will circuit break, and quite possibly save your life. But don't get too confused. Circuit tester, circuit breaker. Repetition makes automatic. Get one of these, plug it in, plug all your equipment in from this, or get a few of these and put them around where you're actually working, but keep these plugged into your equipment to protect you. Obviously not just you, it protects you, it protects the rest of your band, anyone working at the venue and your audience. So definitely get those, and they're very inexpensive. Again, these are probably £10–12. And also all your leads and your cabling, if you have a problem with a lead, if it's got a chunk out of it, if one of these got a chunk out of them, or this is damaged, throw them away. Just throw them away. Don't even give it a second thought. It's damaged, throw it in the bin. And get yourself a new one. You know, if you've got a problem with one of these on the night, if you see, oh look, it's come out of the box, it's got a big chunk out of it, throw it in the bin. Throw it in the bin. Don't even take that chance. Also, if you buy new leads, new extension leads, any kind of electrical equipment, sometimes they'll have a piece of card on them. You'll probably see better on this one actually. They'll have a piece of card which explains earth, live, neutral. You know, how to wire the plug and how the plug is wired. They'll have a piece of card on them. Throw that card away. Put it over there. I mean, by all means, if you want to keep the card for future reference to know how to wire a plug, fine. But get that bit of card off, because that could cause you problems. A pal of mine, who's my PAT tester, showed me a picture of an electrical lead with a piece of card in it that had been in a plug socket on the wall, and the card had got hot. It got hot in there and started smouldering and created a small fire at that electrical point, which could have been catastrophic. All for a piece of card. Honestly, I would never have believed it, but it's true. I've seen the picture and I've seen the card all burnt around the edges where it's created a problem in the socket on the wall and everything. All for a piece of card. And now say that was in an extension lead. It was. I'm only using this because it's the first one to hand, but it was in, they haven't these pieces of card. Take the card out and get rid of it, and throw that card away. The last thing you want is anything like that in your plug socket. I mean, it's important when you're doing any kind of, when you're working on any kind of sound, live sound, or any electrical equipment for that matter. Any electrical equipment that has a piece of card in it, get rid of it. Anything in life that's got electrical equipment that's got a bit of card in it, get rid of it. You don't want it in there. You really don't. Added to that, it's really important if you're doing an outside event and they're supplying the hirer is supplying the mobile generator to run your equipment. It's really important that they're supplying the correct generator that runs, because a lot of this equipment is all domestic, power for domestic use. And last thing you want is a generator that's for a much bigger voltage, because that will melt all your equipment. So you need to make sure, to be totally sure that if you ask for a specific 240 volts, domestic use electricity, you're getting that. If you're getting one from much bigger power, you're going to melt everything. You're going to melt all your equipment and you're going to put everybody at risk. So that's really important. I stress this because I know about it. I know it from a musician pal of mine that had a similar thing happen to him. So it happens. So it's really important to know your electricity, to know what you're plugging into, which goes right back to the socket hanging off from the wall with the wires exposed. As I say, just a quick tip on electrical health and safety, which is all part and parcel of my course as well. Courses, are sort of things we take for granted. I know I have, but the things we have to be, we have to be aware of. These things happen, and these things do happen. But other than that, say, I'll leave that with you. Obviously, any questions, as always, please feel free to drop me a line. About this video, about other videos, about any videos you'd like me to do regarding sound and live sound. I've got a lot more videos coming up in the pipeline, which I'm just organising now. So until then, Ian at Stage Sounds, and I'll speak to you soon.